need to do a better job of reining in our expenses. Still, there's a mindset at PEC that there is no accountability, and we are going to change that. At the present time, the big users, the big commercial users, for example, get, generally speaking, the better rates. They get a better rate than the fellow who's out here energizing his home and trying to, reduce his costs. Management, the employees, the board have all been following the trial very carefully, and the conviction of Benny Fuelberg and his sentencing, of course, will be formally done in January. Judge Mills will impose the recommended sentence in all likelihood of the jury, with some latitude to put Benny Fuelberg behind bars for a period of time. That has all been followed very, very carefully by everybody involved in PEC. What it means is that it is no longer possible for a board member to simply say, I didn't know what was going on. There has been a fair amount of satisfaction just seeing that Mr. Fuelberg was convicted. Most people respect the judgment of a jury. It's not easy to serve on a jury. And I think most people are satisfied now that justice has been done. The board and the leadership of this board has been prepared all along to move way beyond this. We are ready to move forward. Look, there are many things that I'm very happy about at PEC. I'm happy about the progress we've made in reforming the cooperative to be an open and more transparent entity. There are things that I'm not happy about. There are things like the amount of debt we carry, the expenses we carry, the ratio of our expenses relative to other co-ops is not particularly good. We need to do a better job of reining in our expenses. The most important or the highest priority of PEC is to provide low-cost electric service, the lowest possible cost electric service, efficiently and safely. Those are things we cannot sacrifice. But we inherit a legacy, a tradition of spending. Now, I don't think the board or the management is spending as lavishly as perhaps it was being done in the days of Benny Fuelberg, when he took a trip to New England for 10 days with his wife in tow, and board members participated in these trips, but those days are over. Of course, we work with an outside auditor, Bridgepoint. They are in essence a shadow of management, and they are taking a close look at the expense lines. We have a very vigorous finance committee led by two directors, Kathy Scanlon and Christy Clement, and they are very, very focused on controlling expenses. But over time, we have to find a better way to be efficient at PEC, to find a better way to get more work done by the people we have there more efficiently. And we are seeking those ways now, and I think that members can expect to see progress on that front over the next year. It's one of our highest priorities. Keep in mind, we've only had a budget for 1 year. This board imposed a budget at the reluctance of management last year, and we're about to approve or consider a budget for 2011. That budget for 2011 is not where I think it should be yet. I may not even support this budget for 2011, and I can't speak for other board members. But those board members who are involved in paying attention to these expenses are going to clearly have to use their force of will to bring about changes at PEC, and I think those are going to occur. But it is like turning an aircraft carrier around, and you don't do that on a dime. But we are seeking as a top priority a new general manager, and that process is moving forward swiftly, and we should have a new general manager in place, I would say sometime around January or February. I mean, it's moving that quickly. And that person will have to follow a strategic plan. Strategic plan is another thing that is about to be unveiled probably in the December board meeting, and it calls for, as a priority of the board, more strict financial controls. Well, of course, I can't really speculate where rates are going to be in 3, 5 to 10 years. I know this, that the pressure will be to increase the rates, not decrease them, because of factors that we don't always control. The supplies of cheap power are becoming fewer and fewer. 80% of our power comes from LCRA, but we are still able to go away from LCRA to secure other sources of power. And we do. We buy wind, we will look at solar, we'll look at any other outside source of power if it can be put into our portfolio and still keep costs low. Well, keep in mind, I can't tell you how many cents or how many pennies we can lower costs by through lower salaries. I will tell you that salaries represent a small fraction of our cost, minuscule, compared to what we pay for power supply. Well, I think there's a lot of misconception about that. I think we talk about fancy suits. I don't know of any PEC management that are driving Ferraris. And there is a rap that comes to PEC from the members and others that, you know, they are living the high life. Well, I don't really think that's fair because of the way they dress, but there clearly has to be a mindset adopted by future PEC executives that we need to keep our costs operating efficiently and effectively for our members. And it costs money to hire good quality talent. And our salaries and wages are relatively competitive. I don't think they're exorbitant. This is a serious debate, and there are two very valid sides to that debate. You know, we provide HVAC, for example, HVAC incentives, heating and air conditioning incentives to our members. They are very popular. People like them. They want them. And, you know, our focus is on conserving energy. I mean, conservation and energy efficiency is the cheapest form of renewable energy you can find. So we want to encourage those programs, but when we do, we take it out of members' pockets. When we pay people to buy a new heating system or air conditioning system or supplement that, then we are definitely taking it out of the members' pockets. The question is, where's the greatest benefit to PEC? The truth is probably in between. I'm for continuing these some of these rebate programs, but with limits. We cannot go beyond a budgeted amount for these things, because if we do, then we start taking it out of the members' pockets. The truth of the matter is, our business model is based on consumption. Let's not kid anybody. However, if we are able to reduce consumption and also pass those savings along to LCRA, so that in theory they don't have to purchase new coal-fired power plants, and pass those costs back to PEC members, then there is a case that can be made for conservation and for efficiency. As part of the strategic plan, we're going to take another look at rates next year. We're going to do another rate study that will come out of the strategic plan. The desire of the board to take another look to make sure that there is equity in our rate structure. At the present time, the big users, the big commercial users, for example, get, generally speaking, the better rates. They get a better rate than the fellow who's out here energizing his home and trying to, you know, reduce his costs in general, we're rewarding the large consumer. Now this is true of most utility models. This is not just PEC picking on people. But I think the board wants to take a look at new assumptions in the reality that we market ourselves as a company trying to get people to conserve energy, while we have this conflict going on over here rewarding people who are the largest consumer. I, for example, would like to see us have a lifeline rate. A lifeline rate being for people who are at the end of their stick and can't pay their electric bills, and we have a member assistance program now that bails some of those people out. But I would rather everybody pay, but people who have some form of means testing that can qualify could pay a rate that is equitable and fair. We're all interdependent at a co-op. We depend on the HEBs of the world and the big consumers to keep us afloat, but we also need to find a way to help the average consumer save money legitimately. You know, we had a problem last year. Our monthly write-offs were getting out of control, and so the board took action to tighten that. And as a consequence, if you don't pay your electric bill, you know, you get your service cut off, and then there's a startup fee, a connection fee, and a lot of people for a lot of people this just snowballs. And we've been talking to people like the Barnabas group who are very sensitive to the fact that people just get caught up in this snowball and can't keep up. And we're listening to those. The board only measures the effectiveness of the top dog. There's only one employee who reports to the board, and that is the general manager. We're in a transition period right now with that position. We're seeking a new general manager, and that person hopefully will be on board January, February, somewhere in there. Beyond that, the board does not really evaluate. But you asked me, how do I view their effectiveness? And my view is the jury is out. The reality is, once a new general manager is in place, that general manager, and by the way, we are looking for a top drawer, financially focused leader to come in and be an agent of change for PEC. Well, we haven't really come to a point where we're negotiating yet with any one candidate. The field is being narrowed now, and that process will continue for the next 30 days. And we'll get into that in earnest right after the first of the year. We do have good candidates. Some of them are outstanding candidates, in fact. Well, let me clarify something very important. At the present time, PEC has no lobbyist. We do not have a lobbyist. We're not paying anyone to lobby for us. Now, we are a member of the TEC. TEC is a trade organization that represents cooperatives throughout the state. And they do some of their own lobbying, but not on our behalf specifically. We should reserve the right to have a lobbyist. There's nothing wrong with having a lobbyist. Historically, PEC has had lobbyists, and they've been a source of some controversy, but right at the moment we do not. PEC has tried to make the case that we are the leader among cooperatives nationwide in providing governance that is open, fair, and responsive to the members. Fully elected board, bylaws that have term limits in them, a member's Bill of Rights. All of these things were approved in the last year. These are seismic things for the industry. Most of the industry operates in secrecy, behind closed doors. We don't. Our meetings are streamed, they're open, and with the exception of executive session matters, which are very tightly defined and scrutinized, we operate out in the open.